No, that's... So, Shana Tova, welcome everyone to those who are joining us for our Yom Kippur Children's Service, those who are joining us here in person, and those who are also joining us online. So, we have a Yom Kippur Machzor. By the way, hi, Elon. Okay. So, we have a Yom Kippur Machzor. Machzor comes from the Hebrew word meaning to return. So, we're going to read some of our prayers, and the Cantor is going to lead us in singing some of the beautiful songs. If you turn to page 3 in this prayer book, actually, that's like the first page. Okay, interesting. Yom Kippur is a day which allows us to make peace with God for the things which we have done which miss the mark. Yom Kippur does not automatically make peace for us with other people. We ourselves must ask forgiveness of all the people whom we have hurt by missing the mark. So together, we're going to read on page 3. Ready? Master of the universe, today I forgive everyone who has hurt me and everyone who has done me wrong. I forgive them whether they did it on purpose or did it by accident. I forgive them whether they hurt me by what they said or whether they hurt me by what they did. Today I forgive them. And just as I forgave everyone who did me wrong, I ask all those whom I have hurt to forgive me. I am sorry for those things which I did on purpose, and I'm sorry for those things which I did by accident. I ask to be forgiven for the things I said which hurt others, and for the things I did which hurt others. Lord, please wash away the things I have done which miss the mark. Help me to make sure that I never repeat any of these wrongs again. On page 7, our rabbis knew that words can be very powerful. Words of praise can make us happy, words can excite us, words can make us feel better, and words can also hurt us. They taught that words are even more powerful than a sword. A sword can only hurt someone who's standing near you, while words can hurt someone who is far away. And this is why they chose to begin Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, with a prayer about words and promises. This is why they chose to begin our Yom Kippur prayers with Kol Nidre. And Kol Nidre is a beautiful song and prayer that the Cantor is going to lead for us on page 7. Yeah.
Kol Nidre v'sarei v'charamei v'konamei v'chinuyei v'kinusei u'shavuot.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about Yom Kippur. You may have heard that parents and people don't eat or drink on Yom Kippur and that they fast, which sometimes makes them grumpy, but that's not the point of fasting. The point of fasting and not eating is so we can kind of think about what we've done wrong and apologize to others and admit our mistakes, which everyone makes. Parents, children, grandparents, everyone makes mistakes. And this day is all about repairing those things and trying to fix our mistakes. But the first thing you have to do is say, you don't have to say this out loud, say, oops, I'm sorry, and then you figure out how to fix it. The other thing we do is when we spend time in synagogue is we offer prayers. And there's a beautiful prayer, the Baraku, on page 11. And I just want to teach everyone about this prayer. We stand when we say the Baraku. We bow our heads and bend our knees a little bit as we say its words. It's just what people do when a king or queen enters a room. The Baraku is known as the call to worship. It marks the place in the service where our warm-up prayers have been finished and the real praying begins. If you learn only one word of our prayers, it's Baruch or Baraku, because that means blessing, and that's part of pretty much every prayer and blessing we say. So everyone stands for the Baraku, so I'm going to ask everyone to stand. Cantor.
Baraku et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vad.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 12. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or v'rei choshech oseh shalom u'vrei hakol. Today we read together in the middle of page 12. The sun rose today. It will set this evening. Tomorrow the sun will rise again. The world goes on, day then night, day then night. Winter changes into spring. Spring becomes summer. Summer turns into fall. Then winter happens again. A year happens every single year. Every day, get up and start again. Life comes in circles. I can learn from yesterday and change in time for tomorrow. The world goes on, day then night, day then night. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hameorot. The Shema is the most important of all Jewish prayers. It expresses our belief that one God created the heavens and the earth and is the parent of all people. We say together the words of the Shema, and you'll see sometimes people will cover their eyes and concentrate as they're saying the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Page 14. Once we were slaves in Egypt, and God took us out and set us free. And on the way out of Egypt, the children of Israel sang a song, the Michamocha. By remembering that we were slaves and knowing that now we are free, we are better able to understand the mitzvot. If we remember the bitterness of slavery, we begin to help everyone become free. Cantor is going to teach us the Michamocha, which is part of every service that we sing.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osei fele, Nora tehilot, osei fele.
So I'd like to teach you about the next prayer, which is called the Avote, which I usually introduce by saying we stand for the Amidah. That means standing prayer. And the Avote, the first prayer that we say, is basically we say to God, God, before I start asking you for anything, I want to remind you, God, that I'm related to these great people who lived a long time ago, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah. So basically, before we even ask God for anything, and before we get close to God, we say, don't forget, come from a good family. That's my translation. I'm related to these really important people who you had these special relationship with. So I just want to kind of gently remind you that that's who I'm related to before I start with my list of things that I want to ask for. And that's called the Avote. It's on page 19. And so we stand for that prayer, as the cantor leads us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel.
Together in the middle of the page, our God and God of our parents, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, and God of Leah and Rachel, remember us for a good life. You are our ruler who loves life. Write us in the book of life. You are God, the God of life. Zochrenu l'chaim, remember us for life.
Zochrenu l'chaim, melech hafetz b'chaim. Zochrenu l'chaim, melech hafetz b'chaim.
You may be seated. We now turn to page 20. One of the most important parts of Yom Kippur is we go through a list of all the things that we might have done where we missed the mark to try to remind us of how the mistakes we might have made. And so we read together, we read on page 20, our God, God of our parents, forgive us, give us a new beginning, make us at one. And we're going to try to do this responsively. I'm going to read the left and you'll read the right. We are your people.
You are our God.
We are like children.
You are like our parents.
We are like servants.
You are like our master.
We are a group.
You are what holds us together.
We are like a flock.
You are like our shepherd.
We are like a vineyard.
You are like our keeper.
We are creations.
You are our creator.
We are loved.
You are the one who loves us.
We are like a treasure.
You are like our protector.
We are like subjects.
You are like our ruler.
We have chosen you.
You have chosen us.
Our God, God of our parents, let our prayers reach you. Do not ignore our pleas. We are not so stupid or so proud that we would say that we are perfect and have not made mistakes. In truth, we know that sometimes we have missed the mark. So together on the top of 21, we have missed the mark on purpose. We have missed the mark by not caring. We have missed the mark by accident. We have missed the mark by using words carelessly. We have missed the mark by being sneaky. We have missed the mark by using words to hurt. We have missed the mark by hurting others. We have missed the mark by lying. We have missed the mark by not respecting parents and teachers. We have missed the mark by not stopping ourselves from doing something we really wanted, even when we knew that it was wrong.
Ve'al kulam elo haselichot, selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
Together we continue on page 22. We have missed the mark by cheating. We have missed the mark by calling other people's names. We have missed the mark by being selfish. We have missed the mark by being too proud. We have missed the mark by not being responsible. We have missed the mark by not knowing what is right.
Ve'al kulam elo haselichot, selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
We always pray for shalom, for peace, whenever we come to synagogue. There's a beautiful prayer that we sing during the day. It's called Sim Shalom. We hope that God will bring peace for the world and to us, but actually we can bring peace to our families, Maybe on this Yom Kippur we can promise ourselves we're going to try to get along a little better with our brothers or sisters or our family. So peace is not something that's just done, between countries. Kind of can just happen in our own house. It's actually called Shalom Bayit, which means peace in our house. And sometimes that might mean that we have to compromise. I know, tough word. But we're going to get some shalom, some peace, and we're going to pray for Sim Shalom.
Sim shalom. Sim shalom tova ubracha. Sim shalom tova ubracha. Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom.
And before we turn to sharing the story of Jonah with everyone, there's a wonderful prayer that we sing on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and only on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and it's called Avinu Malkeinu. And the Cantor is going to teach to us, but we're going to read in the middle of the page first. Avinu Malkeinu means God is like our parent, God is like our ruler. Together, Avinu Malkeinu, we have missed the mark. Avinu Malkeinu, we have no ruler but you. Avinu Malkeinu, give us a new year of blessing. Avinu Malkeinu, write us in the book of good life. Avinu Malkeinu, write us in the book of forgiveness. Avinu Malkeinu, answer us. Even though we don't deserve your help, please use justice and kindness and save us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Baneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Baneinu, Ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'oshienu.
Page, if you want to follow along, you can. The Cantor and I are going to tell the story of Jonah the prophet. It's in your book, or you can just listen to our telling. Yeah, you're in charge.
The Lord's word came to Jonah, saying, "Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and call to it that its evil has come up before me." Jonah got up and ran away to Tarshish, to get away from the Lord. He went down to Jaffa. He found a boat going to Tarshish. He paid his fare. He went down to go on it to Tarshish, away from the Lord. The Lord threw a great wind onto the sea. The boat was ready to break up. The sailors were afraid. They shouted, each one to his own god. They threw things off the boat into the sea to make it lighter. They said, each man to the next, "Come, let's cast fortunes so that we can find out who is responsible for this evil." They cast the fortunes and they pointed to Jonah. They said to him, "Please tell us who made this evil befall us. Where do you come from? What is your land? From what people are you?" He said to them, "I am a Hebrew. I am in awe of the Lord, the God of the heavens, who made the sea and the dry land." The men were afraid, greatly afraid. They said to him, "What have you done?" These men knew that he was escaping away from the Lord because he had told them. They said to him, "What should we do to you to quiet the sea? The sea keeps going and storming." He said to them, "Take me and throw me into the sea, and the sea will be quiet. I know that it is because of me that this great storm is against you." The men rowed hard to return to the dry land, but they could not because the sea was going and storming against them. They called to the Lord and they said, "Please, Lord, do not wipe us out because of the soul of this man." They threw Jonah into the sea. The sea stopped its anger. The men were in awe of the Lord, a great awe. They offered offerings to the Lord and vowed vows. The Lord picked a great fish to swallow Jonah. Jonah was in the fish's stomach 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the fish's stomach. He said, "I called out from my troubles to the Lord, who answered me. You tossed me into the deep, into the heart of the sea. The currents surrounded me. All your waves crossed over me. When my soul was ready to fade, I remembered the Lord. My prayer came before you to your holy sanctuary. The Lord saves. The Lord spoke to the fish, and it spit Jonah out onto dry land. The word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time, saying, Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and call to it the calling which I tell to you. Jonah got up and went to Nineveh, just as the Lord had said. Nineveh was a great city. It took 3 days to walk across it. Jonah started into the city. He walked for 1 day and called, 40 days from now, Nineveh will be destroyed. But the people of Nineveh trusted in God. They called a fast and dressed in sackcloth, from the greatest to the smallest. God saw their actions, that they came back from their evil ways. God had mercy and didn't do the evil which had been planned.
Jonah felt that this was evil, a great evil. He burned with anger. He prayed to the Lord and said, God, this is why I started to run away to Tarshish. I knew you were a kind and mercy-showing God, patient and understanding, who would forgive their evil. Now, Lord, please take away my soul, because I would rather die than be alive. The Lord said, Is it right that you burn with anger? And Jonah left the city. He built a sukkah there and sat in the shade to see what would happen to the city. And the Lord God picked a castor oil plant which grew up over Jonah to be shade on his head and shade from him from evil. And Jonah was happy about the plant, a great happiness. But God picked a worm, which bit the castor oil plant, and it dried up. And when the sun shone, God picked a cutting east wind, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head. And he became faint and wished in his soul to die. He said, I would rather die than be alive. And God said to Jonah, Is it right that you burn with anger over the plant? He said, It is right that I burn with anger to the point of death. The Lord said to Jonah, You cared about a castor oil plant which you didn't work for, which you didn't raise, which came out one night and vanished the next. Should I not care about Nineveh, the great city which has more than 120,000 people, which cannot tell the difference between their right and left hands, and many animals too? And that's the story of Jonah, and why part of what we do on this day is we try to turn and change our ways. And just like the people of Nineveh, we can repair. And so before we conclude with Oseh Shalom, I just want to tell everyone about what we're going to do next. As soon as we're done with the service in here and we sing Oseh Shalom, we have a project that we're going to be working on, an arts and crafts project that we can do together as families, or we can do together especially our young children and students. We're going to all make books, Mistakes I've Made book. Now, you don't have to fill it from cover to cover. It's meant as sort of something that you can use to help you throughout the year. So we're going to make the book here, and we hope you will use it. And Jen, our religious school principal, is going to help us in the social hall. But first, we're going to turn to the last page. I guess it's page 31. There's no number on my page. And we're going to read together, and then we're going to sing really loudly, Oseh Shalom. Today, please make us brave.
Amen.
Today, please bless us.
Amen.
Today, please help us grow.
Amen.
Today, please help us be happy.
Amen.
Today, please write us in the book of life for a good life.
Amen.
Today, please hear our voice.
Amen.
Today, please accept our prayers.
Amen.
Today, please keep us safe with your justice.
Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova. Thank you for joining us, and follow us into the social hall for the project.